402. So automatically our amount will definitely be equal to 204,000. So that answered the question number 1, which is the example 1. The next here is the compound interest. The compound interest, we have example 2 to justify this concept. Calculate the compound interest on 80,000 for 2 years at 8.5% per annum. If the interest is added at 1 year interval. The difference between the compound interest and the simple interest, that in the simple interest we used the duration of the year at once, but in the case of compound interest it has to be calculated at interval. So if you have 2 years in the scenario, you are meant to calculate the first year and the second year, and whatever value you have overall will be deducted from the original principal, and that will now serve as your compound interest. So to justify this, let's consider example 2. Here we are asked to calculate the compound interest on 80,000. So the principal is given to us. The principal is given to us here as 80,000. Then we have 2 years time. 2 years. We have 2 years as our time. Then the rate is also given, which is the rate here is 8.5%. Then we have to determine the compound interest. So to determine the compound interest, we calculate for the first year using the formula for the simple interest, which is I equals to PRT over 100. Now our principal is 80,000. Our rate is 8.5%, which also, to convert this to improper fraction, 2 times 8, 16. 16 plus 1, 17 over 200. That's our rate. So if you incorporate this into the formula, then we have principal, which is 80,000 times the rate, which will now be 17 over 200 times our time. But this time around is the first year that we are calculating for. So automatically it will be 1. So we use our electronic device to get this. 80,000 times 17 divided by 200. So that gives 6,000. That gives us 6,800. That is the interest. For the second year, the principal for the second year now, this principal for this will be the 80,000 plus 6,800. So automatically this gives 86,800. So this is what we're going to make use of in the second year. So we still imbibe this. So we have I equals to PRT over 100. So automatically, but the principal this time around will change from the original, and that will be 86,800 times the rate is still the same, 17 over 200 times the time, which is also 1 year. Then here we have 86,800 multiplied by 17 divided by 200. That gives, so will give us 7,378. So if we want to determine the principal here, it will now be, the principal here will be 86,800 plus 7,378. 308 plus 86,800. So that gives us, that will give us 94,178. Now, since our interest is to determine the compound interest, so the compound interest will now be this, which is 94,178 minus the original principal, that is 80,000. So that will now give us minus 80,000. That will now give us 14,108. So this is the compound interest. That's the answer for question 2. Depreciation. This is the loss in value of many items such as cars, electrical goods. Now let's see example. Example 4. A radio costing 16,000 naira depreciate by 25% in the second year. Find its value after 2 years. So here we have the percentage of the depreciation has been given to us to be 25%. We can calculate this in 2 ways, but the easiest way of calculating this, since the depreciation has to do with loss in value, so automatically, if you have this, you assume that for a perfect system, you have 100%. And since the depreciation value here is 25%, automatically, you subtract that 100%, 25% from 100%, and that gives 75%. So 75% is also the same as 0.75. So if you are to determine the value of the radio after 2 years, with respect to 25% depreciation, it will simply give us the depreciation. The depreciation will simply give us, we multiply the cost, which is 16,000 by 0.75, and that automatically gives us 16,000 multiplied by 0.75, and that gives us 12,000. So we are made to understand that a radio costing this depreciated by this in the second year, find its value after 2 years. So automatically from that we can depict that since this is the depreciation value in the first year, so automatically if we multiply this by 0.75, then we have 9,000. So it should be noted that the depreciation value of that will definitely be 12,000, since we are given the depreciation value to depreciation percentage will be 25%, and since the normal value for goods or any commodity is 100%, so then 25% minus 100% gives 75%, and 75% is 0.75. So depreciation there is 16,000 multiplied by 0.75, and that gives us 12,000. Arithmetic of finance. Example 4. A radio costing 16,000 naira depreciates by 25% in the first year and 20% in the second year. We stop. Find its value after 2 years. So here it has been shown that the first year we have a depreciation of 25%. Then the second year we have 20%. So the principal is 16,000. So the easiest way to approach this situation is, if you have 25% depreciation, that means that it will definitely be, because the total is 100%. If you have 25% depreciation, it's also the same thing as saying 75%, which is equal to 0.75. So if you want to know the depreciation value, the value that will remain after experiencing this 25% depreciation will be 16,000. Should be 16,000 times 0.75 for the first year. So that will be for the first year. The first year would be 0.75 times 16,000, and that will give us 12,000 naira. That's for the first year. And since the second year is 20%, automatically the amount that will be left after experiencing 20% depreciation will definitely be 80%. Since I have made us to realize that if you have 25% depreciation,